What's up guys, my name is Rising and welcome back to another gun guide for Call of Duty Mobile. In this series we go deep into all of the important stats for all of the weapons in Call of Duty Mobile's multiplayer, as well as providing excellent class setups that suit your playstyle. And today we'll be covering another buffed weapon of the season, the FR556 Assault Rifle. The base model ported for Modern Warfare 2019, the FR556, is based on the iconic Fusil d'Assaut de la Manufacture d'Armes de Saint-Étienne, or the FAMAS assault rifle, actually one of the two versions of FAMAS that we have in this game. It features a sleek bullpup design and an integrated bipod, although in-game you need to spend an attachment slot to access it. The FR556 is a 4 to 6 shot kill weapon, dealing 30 damage up close and dropping to 19 at extreme ranges. After the recent patch, its 4-shot range got split into 2 separate damage phases. This does not change its base shots to kill, but has a notable effect once we take its body multipliers into account. And as we can see, the FR deals 30% more damage to the head, 20% more to the upper torso, and 10% more to the arms. But unlike almost every other assault rifle, for some reason it deals 5% less damage to the legs.
This is quite unnecessary on a weapon like this, and I don't know why they added this in the first place. With all of these multipliers, as well as the new damage phase in account, we see that in the maximum damage range, you need at least 2 headshots to reduce to a 3-shot kill. Beyond that, headshots are not useful at all, but you don't need to worry about hitting the head all the time, as you can also achieve the same potential if you land at least 2 shots to the upper torso in the maximum damage range.
But beyond that, those multipliers do not serve any purpose. Same goes for the arm multipliers, which are literally useless in this weapon. You might as well remove the arm multipliers and the weapon will perform exactly the same. Body multipliers in general on this weapon significantly limit its potential to perform well in a practical scenario. On top of that, it has negative multipliers to the legs, which although affect only in the 3rd damage range, it generates unwanted inconsistencies in practical gunfights.
But with that out of the way, let's have a look on its rate of fire, which is on the slower side at 666 rounds per minute. This means that our base 4-shot time to kill will be 270 milliseconds, which is very slow in the current meta, and it rises up to 450 milliseconds in those longer ranges. However, if you hit the head or the upper torso twice in the maximum damage range, you can achieve a 180 millisecond time to kill, which is good, but is very less likely to achieve since your arms block the chest, and hitting 2 shots to the chest is quite a challenge.
But that's just one side of the picture. Let us now have a look on its range profile. And as we can see, its maximum damage range, which is the range you can achieve a potential 3-shot kill, is just 13 meters. Although its guaranteed 4-shot range is quite impressive, up to 30 meters. One thing to note here is that the critical zones in this case is only the upper torso, since the arms are literally useless to aim for. And by comparing the FR556 to other top-tier weapons, we see that up close its performance sucks. In mid-ranges it performs somewhat decent, but there are a plethora of weapons which perform way better and also has better consistency than the FR556.
As for its accuracy, its base ADS bullet spread seems to be quite better than average, but there are some intricacies in this which will come once we discuss its recoil. Its hipfire spread is also better than average, bordering on the SMG territory. Its hit flinch is standard, while its bullet impact is better than average. And now coming to its recoil, this is where those intricacies start showing up. At first glance, you may think that this is quite a simple recoil pattern, which is true, but that's when you consider its 100% accuracy pattern.
The FR556 incorporates a different BSA mechanic than other conventional weapons. The FR has both aim shake as well as bloom spread, where aim shake is much more prevalent than bloom. The center figure shows the general recoil pattern without any bloom. But once you start putting attachments that harm our BSA, you start getting the pattern on the left. And when you put attachments that improve our BSA, you start getting the pattern on the right. Additionally, you must note that these patterns do not incorporate its bloom spread, which starts to take over once you start firing the weapon full auto. So long story short, the FR556 has both aim shake and bloom spread, where aim shake matters more than bloom. And based on my testing, the attachments contributing to our bullet spread accuracy only changes our aim shake, not our bloom. So it is pointless to stack BSA improving attachments on the gun, since the base bullet spread value is already good enough for the engagements you'll be mostly taking in counters.
As for its handling, the base aim down sight time is faster than average at 240 milliseconds, while its sprint to fire time is standard. However, all of its mobility stats are on the lower side for assault rifles, which is a drawback on this weapon since it cannot be boosted due to its limited attachment options. The magazine capacity is standard at 30 rounds with 120 in reserve. It reloads in 1.20 seconds with an empty reload time of 1.13 seconds, which is somehow faster than its tactical reload. You can speed its tactical reload to 1.02 seconds with sleight of hand if you want.
And from this episode onwards, I thought of including its magazine attachments in this section. The extended mag offers 44 rounds, and as a trade-off, you have a slight increment to your tactical reload time. And on the other hand, the fast mag greatly reduces our tactical reload to under a second. But since more rounds in magazine is always better, the extended mag is clearly the better option here. And for its last base stat, we have its material penetration, which is pretty standard for an assault rifle. You may improve it with FMJ, but it's not worth an attachment to spend a slot on.
And with that, we've covered all of the important stats for the FR556, and now's the time to see how to build this weapon. So far, we've seen that the gun doesn't really excel at anything. It has really bad lethality, mobility, and a pathetic accuracy. The only aspect where it performs somewhat decent is its damage profile, especially at the mid-ranges. So the first build that I have here focuses mainly on mobility, treating it as a flex weapon. We have the monolithic suppressor for concealment and range, the short barrel for overall improved mobility, light stock for improved strafing, granulated grip tape to improve our aim shake, and finally topping it off with the only extended mag option that we have available.
With this build, we have tried to improve our mobility as much as possible. And since this is a bullpup rifle, we do not have access to no stock for further improvements to its mobility. We have a 25% range boost, which means our potential 3-shot range where you need to hit at least 2 shots to the head or the upper torso is now 16.3 meters, with our guaranteed 4-shot range stretching up to 37.5 meters. In comparing it with other top-tier options, we see that it performs decently in those mid-ranges. However, its close range time to kill is terrible. Our BSA is harmed slightly, but is fine for a weapon meant for a flex playstyle. Note that the recoil shown here is only its 100% accuracy pattern, which will harm once you start firing the weapon full auto because of its aim shake mechanism. The next build that I'm about to show takes the advantage of its mid-range performance, and this is the type of build that I recommend using if you want to use the FR556. With this, we again have the monolithic suppressor for concealment and range, Ranger barrel for further improved range and also help in our aim shake, combat stock to somewhat mitigate the ADS time con for the barrel, long shot for even further improved range, and finally the extended mag. This build has only one thing to focus, which is purely range boosting, and as we can see, all of our damage ranges are improved by an incredible 55%, which means our potential 3-shot range is now around 20 meters, and our guaranteed 4-shot range is now up to a great 46.5 meters. Additionally, it has a 62 meters of 5-shot range provided you don't hit the legs, which means in most of the practical engagements, you won't need more than 5 shots to kill. And by comparing it with other top-tier weapons, we again see that it performs quite nicely in those mid to longer range encounters. However, you must keep its aim shake in control, otherwise you might throw your aim off in those longer ranges. And as expected, the only good aspect of this build is its range profile, and apart from that, everything else is pretty underwhelming. This is the type of setup which I'll lean toward if I was in a more competitive lobby, but insist on using the FR556.
As for an example class setup, for respawns we're using a melee in our secondary to run around the map. We have the perk Greed Red as our wildcard, allowing us to carry 2 red perks where we have Flak Jacket and Dauntless, and for the other 2 perks we have Quick Fix and Unit Support. For the lethal equipment, we have a contact grenade, and for the tactical, we have a trophy system. Operator skills and score streaks can be chosen as preference. For search and destroy, again, we have a knife to run around the map. We have a frag grenade as lethal equipment and a stim as the tactical. We're also using restock as our additional red perk so that we can cycle through our throwables, and dead silence for obvious reasons.
And with that, that is going to wrap it up on the gun guide for the newly buffed FR556. As for my thoughts on the weapon, I'm sorry to say for all those players out there who like this, I consider it to be one of the worst weapons in its category, even worse than the M4. There's no aspect apart from its range profile which it stands out, and to be fair, in all the other departments it performs terribly.
As for suggestions, I'd propose better lethality up close with enhanced body multipliers. Also, the BSA mechanic on this weapon needs to be reworked. It is clearly an outlier in its category. Also, I'd love an improvement in both handling and mobility departments since it has such limiting attachment options. And lastly, I wonder why they haven't done this yet, but change its name to FR 5.56 instead of .556, which makes a lot of sense. These improvements might make the FR 556 somewhat viable in the current meta, but right now, I have to put it in the bottom of my tier list.
But of course, those were just my thoughts on the FR 556. Now, I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think of this weapon? For those who do use this weapon quite often, what are your experiences with it? Do you like it, hate it, or just manage to get it under control? And for those who haven't used this weapon in a while, do you want to give the newly buffed FR 556 a shot? Just let your thoughts in the comment section down below. The new season is right around the corner, and I'm almost done with most buffed weapons for this season. The patch notes will also drop sometime soon once this video gets uploaded. If you want any other in-depth analysis, let me know what you want me to cover next. Join my Discord server to gain access to all of my recommended builds for all of the weapons, as well as other in-depth analysis. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see future content, and leave a like on this video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.